The year was 1874, and in the desolate town of Dry Dust Hollow, compassion traveled slower than desert dust. That summer, the sky burned white-hot, and the earth cracked like old leather. Into this oppressive silence walked Willa McCrae, barefoot. In each hand, she held a child, her 4-year-old twins, Lily and June. Their faces were streaked with fresh tears, but their cries had faded. Hunger had stolen even their whimpers. The townspeople parted for her not with kindness, but as if she were a plague. Willa was a widow, but not the respectable kind. She was a woman who had given her family no sons, only daughters. Her husband's relatives had cast her out, blaming her for their misfortune. Her destination was the auction platform in the center of town. That morning, it wasn't livestock or laborers being sold, but something far more heartbreaking. The auctioneer's harsh voice boomed, 2 female children for sale, healthy, no ailments, and trained to be silent. Willa didn't climb the platform. She knelt in the dust, clutching her daughters. Her voice was a dry rasp. "I beg you," she pleaded. "Spare them. Take me instead. I'll do housework, I'll cook, I'll sleep with the livestock. Just let them be free." A farmer in the crowd scoffed. "There's no sanctuary for a woman who disappoints her family 4 times. With only daughters," another added. What did she expect? As Willa looked up, her gaze fell on a figure standing in the shade of the post office. Robert Thatcher. Tall and sturdy, the town had all but forgotten him. He hadn't spoken to anyone in years, living alone since his mother died and his brother left for the war. But Robert was watching Willa, and he remembered. Years ago, at the church well, he'd caught her fallen bucket. She had smiled. Just once. He had thought about that smile for a decade. The auctioneer called for bids. Jedediah Klein, a cruel man with tobacco-stained teeth, stepped forward. "I'll take them both," he declared. "One to sweep, one to serve." Willa stood, shielding her daughters with her arms. "Please, not him. Anyone but him." "Going once," the auctioneer called. "Going twice." Just as he was about to yell "sold," Willa turned, a final sliver of hope in her eyes. Her voice was barely a whisper, a prayer. "Robert." Time seemed to stop. The dust hung still in the air. The entire town turned to the man they had forgotten. Robert Thatcher stepped forward. His voice was like gravel softened by rain. "I will take them," he said. The auctioneer was stunned. Jedediah sneered. "You don't even have a wife. What will you do with girls?" Robert replied calmly. "I have a roof. I have peace. That's more than you will ever offer." The town sheriff, leaning nearby, spoke up. "That's enough, Klein. You try anything foolish, and I won't stop him." Defeated and angry, Jedediah vanished into the crowd. Robert knelt and lifted the girls into his arms. He looked at Willa. "Are you coming too?" he asked softly. "You owe me nothing," she whispered. "I know," he said. Willa looked up, a faint light returning to her eyes. "I have no shoes. I have spare boots. I have nothing else." Robert held out his free hand. "You still have your name." Willa placed her hand in his, and he gently helped her up. They walked through the stunned town. In Robert's wagon, Willa finally asked, "Why did you do this?" Robert looked toward the hills. "Because you called me by my name. No one has done that in a long time." At his ranch, peace settled over them like a soft blanket. Robert laid the girls on a bed and covered them with a quilt. He gave Willa food and water. For the first time in weeks, they were safe and fed. Later, they stood on the porch under the moonlight. "Do you remember the well?" Robert asked. Willa nodded. "You smiled at me," he said. "I never forgot." Her voice was raw with pain. "I don't smile easily anymore." Robert looked at her, his gaze steady. "That's all right," he said. "I'll wait." Inside, the girls slept peacefully. Outside, a man who never spoke had finally found his voice. And a woman who had lost everything had been given her name back. But Willa didn't know the full truth. She didn't know what would come knocking before the morning light.